What scene in a movie really pissed you off? In Office Space when Milton didn't get his slice of cake. Still bothers me 21 years later. Near the end of The Wedding Singer, when that douchebag Glenn thinks it's so nice of himself to agree to let Julia lean over him when they fly over the Vegas Strip. That little smirk he does makes me want to punch the TV. Autobots teleporting from America to England via terrible transition in the last Transformer movie. The end of Grease, where the car flies into the air for no reason. The end of I'm Legend missed the whole point of the book's ending. John Wick, when Viggo knocks John out but then ties him up instead of just killing him. I know that the bad guy not taking the opportunity to kill the hero is a common thing, but killing John is literally Viggo's only goal. John has nothing that Viggo needs, and Viggo himself delivered a huge speech about what an unstoppable badass John is. If anybody should have taken the opportunity to kill John while he was defenseless, it's Viggo. Every scene where Percy's face appeared on my screen in The Green Mile. 40 Days and 40 Nights. The guy gets raped by his ex-girlfriend and then has to apologize to his new girlfriend. Any scene in Harry Potter that could be completely and easily solved with magic they've already demonstrated in the previous films. It's like they forget every spell they've ever learned except the one the story wants them to use. I know this is silly, but the scene or scenes in Face Off where they do the face stroking thing. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it just makes me cringe. It's not a scene, it's the trope. I have to tell you this thing, but I won't tell you, because telling you would speed up the plot and I need you to find out through other means that I know this thing, so that there can be a contrived and forced conflict 2/3 into the movie that we'll reconcile several minutes later trope. I fucking hate that. It's bad, lazy fucking writing. Towards the end of Speed, when Sandra Bullock's character is told to stay put for a minute, I knew in my heart that, after being a total step to the plate badass for the entire movie, that they were going to have her do something stupid and banal. Sure enough, she steps out into the open, gets snapped, and then gets put into a damsel in distress situation for Keanu to save. The end of Titanic when Rose dies, she goes into the afterlife to be with some dude she had a fling with 80 years ago. What about her husband? People she spent a lifetime with? Maybe a child that died before her? I'm making some assumptions, but you get my point. Harry Potter breaking the Elder Wand and tossing away the pieces, implying that he's going to keep using Draco Malfoy's old wand indefinitely. Bitch no. He used the Elder Wand to mend his trusty Phoenix Feather Wand, intended to have the wand reburied with Dumbledore, and aimed to end the wand's chain of power upon his own death. Not really pissed off, but an entire theater of slightly pissed off people. I was in college and a bunch of us went to see the X-Files movie in the theater. This was in Texas. There's a scene when Mulder is in Dallas, and he asks a bunch of kids at a playground where the alien, or whatever went, and they all point west towards some huge Rockies type mountains. The whole theater of Texans spit out their popcorn and WTFD at the same time. Any scene in the Terminator films where the Terminator shoots a gun and misses. You're telling me Skynet can build intelligent machines and they figured out time travel, yet they can't be programmed to aim straight. Superman beating the hell out of Steppenwolf. All the other characters are useless from that point onwards. The amount of bread Bill wasted while preparing a sandwich for his daughter in Kill Bill. From The Green Mile, when that cunty little weasel of a guard, Percy, doesn't wet the sponge for an execution, which results in painfully frying the guy in the chair alive. And then he has the audacity to say that he didn't know it needed to be wet. Whenever a character runs from danger and falls, like it is first time in their life they've ran. Whenever a character has a heated argument with their girlfriend/boyfriend and all that could be avoided if either of them let other explain the situation or misunderstandment. When P.O. Sad says the future of noodles is dice cut vegetables. WTF goose. That's a terrible idea. You're gonna go out of business. Whenever you can tell that the film cost billions with a script that isn't worth a dime. In the recent movie Bloodshot, there's an early action scene in which a truck full of flour is crashed in a tunnel, and then there's a shootout/fight scene amidst a literal fog of flour in the air, mostly illuminated by people throwing road flares around for light. It looks great, but I couldn't enjoy it because all I could think about is how airborne flour burns, and when mixed with air at the right density, it explodes. It just takes an ignition source, like any of a dozen flares, or maybe any of several dozen guns, not to mention burning vehicles. Everyone should been blown up and burned and starved of oxygen. Every time I see posts like this on Reddit I always think, nice, now I can see what people think about these movies, and then I don't know any of the films which are being talked about. Every scene where a victim, being pursued by an attacker, knocks out or knocks down the attacker, and the victim doesn't finish the job. From Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when Indy survived a nuclear explosion by hiding in a refrigerator. Them explaining the end of Hulk's arc, the climax of his character, with some offhand references, some diner. Such wasted potential. The soldier who gets slowly stabbed at the end of Saving Private Ryan. When Charlie and his grandpa drink the fizzy lifting drinks in the original Willy Wonka movie. Why? They saw what happened to the others. Any movie where the villain has basically unlimited power, but they get beat by the heroes because they spent 10 hours on their monologue instead of actually completing their goal. I hate it when movie characters lie to someone else and ruins a whole relationship when telling the truth would have fixed the problem. It just feels like added drama that could have easily been prevented. Willy Wonka, Grandpa Joe getting out of bed and do the silly dance because Charlie found the golden ticket. Grandpa Joe claimed the floor was cold earlier on in the movie. The entirety of Jurassic World, watching Bryce Dallas Howard run all over the place in heels. In the last Harry Potter book, Dudley and Harry are seen in which they kind of make amends. It's not in the movie. That pisses me off. Yeah, hug the person that basically just met Han Solo, but don't comfort Chewie in any way. Rose drops that $10 million gem in the ocean just out of spite, instead of say, selling it and donating the money to charity. Dick move that always pisses me off when I see that. Didn't really piss me off, but it annoyed me that at the start of Hobbs and Shaw showing their contrasted mornings and Jason Statham used American eggs, even though he was meant to be in England. The final scene in The Man Who Knew Too Little. It pushed the absurdity too far. I've introduced a few people to the movie and made them agree to let me stop it before that scene. They've always finished it later and agreed that it would have left them with a bad taste of the movie. It's hard to pick just one scene from The Hurt Locker. There's so much absolute bullshit going on. But for me it's the sniper scene where the private military contractors, normally ex-special forces types, are somehow useless and the day is saved by an EOD tech using an unzeroed rifle to take out 3 enemies at about 900 meters. Never mind, they were just driving around the desert solo to start with. They tried to make a hyper-realistic war movie and ended up making one of the most unrealistic war movies I've ever seen. If you liked this video, smash the like button and subscribe for daily dose of Reddit. Have fun and get Reddited.